There is an agency that has kidnapped war criminals off the streets of Argentina, that has assassinated nuclear scientists in Tehran without ever setting foot inside Iran, that once ran a spy so deep inside Egypt's military he became trusted by their president, that has pulled off operations so audacious, so impossible, that even their enemies grudgingly respect them. This is Mossad, and today I am going to take you somewhere most people never go. Behind the silence, behind the myths, behind the shadows. Not just the famous stories you have heard, but why this agency exists, how it was born from one of the darkest moments in human history, and what it has become today. By the end of this video, you will never look at global intelligence the same way again, and I promise you, some of what you are about to hear, you will not believe actually happened. Let's begin. Before we go into the history, before we talk about how Mossad was born, I want you to understand what we are dealing with, because this is not just another government spy agency. The CIA has 21,000 employees and a budget estimated at $15 billion. MI6, Britain's famous intelligence service, has been operating since 1909. Russia's SVR, successor to the KGB, has the full weight of a superpower behind it. And yet, when intelligence professionals around the world are asked privately, which agency do you respect the most? Which one keeps you up at night? The answer, overwhelmingly, is a small agency from a country the size of New Jersey, Mossad, the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, with an estimated staff of only 7,000 to 8,000 people, a country of 9 million, and yet a reach that extends to every corner of the planet. Let me give you just a taste of what this agency has accomplished. In 1960, they located the most wanted Nazi war criminal alive, Adolf Eichmann, the architect of the Holocaust, hiding in suburban Buenos Aires under a fake name. They kidnapped him in broad daylight, smuggled him across international borders, and brought him to Israel to face justice. He was executed in 1962. In 1976, when Palestinian and German terrorists hijacked an Air France plane and held over 100 Jewish hostages at Entebbe airport in Uganda, Mossad's intelligence network made the rescue possible. Israeli commandos flew 4,000 kilometers, stormed the airport, and rescued 102 hostages in 53 minutes. In 2018, Israeli agents secretly entered a warehouse in Tehran and physically stole half a ton of Iran's nuclear archive, 100,000 documents taken out of Iran's capital without a single shot fired. Half a ton of documents from Tehran. When was the last time you heard of any agency pulling something like that off? This is Mossad, and we have not even started the story yet. So, what exactly is Mossad? The word Mossad in Hebrew simply means the Institute. It is one of three main intelligence bodies in Israel. Shin Bet handles internal security, like the FBI. Amman is military intelligence, attached to the army, and Mossad handles foreign intelligence and covert operations, like the CIA, but bolder. Mossad answers directly to the Prime Minister of Israel, not to the military, not to parliament. This gives it extraordinary independence and extraordinary secrecy. Its official motto comes from the Book of Proverbs, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. But among intelligence insiders, Mossad is better known for a different, unofficial motto, one that captures its spirit far more honestly. By way of deception, thou shalt do war. Deception, not brute force, not size, not numbers. Deception. That philosophy, that single word, explains almost everything Mossad has ever done. And to understand why Israel built an agency around that word, you have to go back, way back, to a moment of absolute darkness. To understand Mossad, you must first understand fear, not the everyday kind, the kind that comes from watching your entire world be destroyed and knowing that no one is coming to save you. In the 1930s and 40s, 6 million Jewish people were murdered in the Holocaust. 6 million. And here's what makes that number even more devastating. Many of them tried to flee. They begged for visas. They knocked on embassy doors. They wrote letters, and the doors of the world were largely closed. In 1939, a ship called the SS St. Louis carried over 900 Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi Germany. The United States refused them entry. Cuba refused them. They were forced to return to Europe. Many of them died in the Holocaust. This is the wound at the heart of the Jewish state. The understanding burned into the DNA of a people that if they don't protect themselves, no one will. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared independence, and within 24 hours, literally within one day, 5 Arab armies invaded: Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon. A newborn country, surrounded. A people who had just survived history's greatest genocide, now immediately fighting for survival again. Israel won that war, but it was close, dangerously close, and Israel's first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, understood something clearly. Israel would always be outnumbered. It would always be geographically surrounded. It could never afford to be surprised, and it could never again be in a position where its enemies knew more than it did. Israel needed eyes everywhere, ears in every capital, agents in every shadow. It needed Mossad. On December 13, 1949, just 18 months after Israel's founding, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion signed a memorandum establishing a new intelligence service. And from those earliest days, the mandate was clear: collect intelligence, run agents abroad, protect Jews everywhere, and strike enemies before they can strike Israel. This was not just a spy agency. It was in many ways an expression of Jewish survival itself. The early Mossad was small, underfunded, improvised, no satellites, no internet, no massive infrastructure. Their tools were human beings, networks, trust, and lies told convincingly, but almost immediately they began doing things that stunned the world. One of their earliest missions was not even a spy operation. It was rescue. In 1949, Mossad helped secretly airlift nearly 50,000 Yemeni Jews to Israel, many of whom had never seen an airplane before in their lives. They were told the planes were the wings of eagles, mentioned in the book of Exodus. Then came the operation that truly put Mossad on the world map, the one that told every intelligence agency, these people are serious. Adolf Eichmann, the man who had personally organized the logistics of transporting millions of Jews to death camps. After the war, he escaped. With the help of forged documents and Nazi escape routes, he made it to Argentina, where he lived quietly in a suburb of Buenos Aires under the name Ricardo Clement. For 15 years, this man, responsible for the deaths of millions, lived a normal life, went to work, had a family, took buses. A Mossad agent confirmed the sighting. The case was built, the prime minister was briefed, and then Mossad did something that had never been done before in the history of intelligence. They sent a team to Argentina, a sovereign foreign nation, and kidnapped him. Not killed, kidnapped. They wanted him to face justice in an Israeli courtroom in front of survivors. On May 11, 1960, agents grabbed Eichmann off a street, sedated him, dressed him in an El Al airline uniform, and flew him to Israel, hiding in plain sight on a commercial flight. He was tried publicly, found guilty of crimes against humanity, and on May 31st, 1962, Adolf Eichmann was executed, the only person ever to be legally executed in Israel's history. When Holocaust survivors who testified at the trial were asked afterward how they felt, many said the same thing. For the first time, I felt like someone was watching over us. Now I need to tell you about the moment that broke something in Israel and what happened next. September 5th, 1972, Munich, Germany, the Olympic Games. 8 Palestinian terrorists broke into the Olympic Village and took 11 Israeli athletes and coaches hostage. The world watched on live television. A botched German rescue attempt followed. By the time it was over, all 11 Israeli hostages were dead. Israel was in shock. The world was in shock. And Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir made a decision, a quiet decision. Behind closed doors, she authorized Operation Wrath of God. The mission? Hunt down and assassinate every person responsible for the Munich massacre, no matter where they were, no matter how long it took. Over the next 2 decades, Mossad systematically tracked and killed operatives connected to the attack across Europe, the Middle East, Cyprus, Beirut, one by one. But there was a tragedy in the middle of this operation. In the small Norwegian town of Lillehammer in 1973, Mossad agents killed a Moroccan waiter named Ahmed Bouchiki, mistaking him for a Black September operative. He was innocent. The Lillehammer affair showed the world something important about Mossad, something that gets lost in the mythology. They are not perfect. They make mistakes, and those mistakes have cost innocent lives. They are simultaneously defenders of the vulnerable and agents who operate in moral gray zones that most of us will never have to navigate. Now let me take you through the modern evolution of Mossad, because this agency did not stay frozen in 1972. It adapted, it modernized, and in some ways, it became more formidable than ever. In 1981, Israel became convinced that Iraq's Usirak nuclear reactor would be used to build nuclear weapons. Israeli jets destroyed the reactor in a surprise strike. The world condemned it. History vindicated Israel. Saddam Hussein was pursuing nuclear weapons. In the 2000s, after the September 11th attacks, Mossad became one of the most critical intelligence partners for Western agencies fighting Al-Qaeda and later ISIS. Their human intelligence networks in the Arab world were unmatched. Between 2010 and 2012, 5 Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in precision assassinations in Tehran. Magnetic bombs attached to cars, motorcycles. The operations bore every hallmark of Mossad. Iran blamed Israel. Israel said nothing. The message was received. Also in 2010, a computer worm called Stuxnet destroyed approximately 1,000 Iranian centrifuges used in uranium enrichment, widely attributed to a joint United States and Israeli operation. It was the first known cyberweapon ever used to cause physical destruction. Think about that, a piece of code destroying physical machinery in a foreign country without a single soldier crossing a border. This is the future of intelligence, and Mossad was already there. In 2018, Mossad agents broke into a secure warehouse in Tehran and physically extracted 50,000 files and 163 compact discs of Iran's nuclear weapons program documentation, half a ton of material taken from Iran's capital. Intelligence experts around the world called it one of the greatest intelligence coups of the 21st century. In 2020, Iran's top nuclear scientist was killed on a road outside Tehran by what was reported to be a remote-controlled machine gun operated via satellite from outside Iran's borders. No agents on the ground, a satellite-controlled assassination, and then came the event that shook Mossad to its core. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas launched a massive, coordinated attack across the Gaza border, killing over 1,200 Israelis in a single day. It was the deadliest attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust, and Mossad, the agency that hunted Eichmann in Buenos Aires, that stole nuclear files from Tehran, did not see it coming. The failure of October 7th is still being investigated. It represents a profound intelligence breakdown, a failure of warning signals, of human sources, of technological interpretation, and it shows us something that every intelligence agency eventually confronts. No matter how capable you are, the enemy adapts, and hubris is the most dangerous vulnerability of all. I want to leave you with something. Not a spy story, not an operation, a thought. Mossad exists because of a belief that a people who were nearly destroyed, who were turned away at borders, who were told they did not matter, must never, ever be caught unprepared again. Every operation you have heard about today, Eichmann, Entebbe, the Tehran heist, they all come from the same place. Not from arrogance, not from a desire for power, but from a deep, generational wound. A wound that says, never again. Is Mossad perfect? No. Have they made mistakes? Yes. Deadly ones. Have they operated in moral gray zones? Absolutely. But when you zoom out, when you look at what this agency has done with limited resources in a hostile region for a small country surrounded by enemies, you are looking at one of the most remarkable intelligence organizations ever assembled. The Talmud, one of Judaism's central texts, says, whoever saves a single life, it is as if they saved an entire world. Mossad, at its best, has been in the business of saving worlds, and at its worst, it has shown us what happens when the line between protection and vengeance gets blurred. That tension between safety and justice, between survival and morality, that is the story of Mossad, and it is a story that is very much still being written.